Hello, rugby fans. We're here for an early start at 2:30 between Caps and UVic, and we're about 30 seconds into the game, and I'm sorry if you missed any of that off the bat here. Our starting lineups we'll get to in just a minute. It is Capilano, the home team, in black. It is UVic, the visiting team, in yellow. And the ball is thrown back to Crosby Stewart, who kicks it high down the field. Ball spilled by Yanagia. Zoom that out. Now charging forward, Evan Marshall with the ball brought down. Spun out and hacked across the field. Nicely collected by the fullback, Lucas Hammond, and he hoists it back into Capilano territory, and charging up the field with it they go. Just short of the halfway line. Rock solid defense there for the Vikes. MacBryan Bos, an intimidating figure. Offload. Picked up there by Doug Fraser, not too far in the possession before he spilled into touch. We'll get a line out defensively for Caps, who are attacking from our right to our left. And we'll get a knock on here off that line out. We'll set up our first scrum of the day. Put in there by Chris Robinson. The referee doesn't like what was going on there. Looks like a failure to bind in the scrum. And a penalty to Caps being awarded. They'll take this opportunity to clear their lines a little bit as they're working right around the 22. And this ball is going right into the crowd. Another strong crowd here at Clahany Park in West Vancouver. Good throw in, line out into the middle of the line there. Referee playing advantage. Offside advantage being played here by Caps. And now we're going to bring that back for the offside advantage here. Check that, coming in from the side. And once again, Caps push upfield using the penalty. And we've played about 3 or 4 minutes here on a wonderful November Saturday. It's time to go through our starting lineups for both teams. For UVic, at number 1, Casey Reed. Number 2 is Casey Cavers. 3, MacBryan Bos. 4, Shea Wakefield. 5 is Lucas Balkovic. 6, Jeff Nishma Miller. We'll continue on in just a moment. UVic collecting that ball off the maul. And that box kick, getting about halfway under it, was Chris Robinson. And that handover didn't quite work the way he planned, but Capilano do retain possession. Clayton Hunter spilling forward for a couple of extra meters. The poor pass nearly taken in for the try. It would have been clear sailing for Luke McCloskey, number 11, and he dropped the ball. Obviously a little bit of try-line fever there. He had visions of dancing into goal before he had collected the ball entirely. So a lucky break there for Caps as they tried to do hands down the line and couldn't quite get that sorted out, and nearly cost them an opening try courtesy of Luke McCloskey, but they get out of that situation quite luckily. Continuing on with our opening lineups, we left off at number 6, Jeff Nishma-Miller. 7 for the Vikes is Ole Knotts. 8, Dustin Dubrovsky. 9, Jamie Pipledo. 10, Giuseppe Dutois. 11, Luke McCloskey. 12, Doug Fraser. 13, Joe Ehrlich. 14 is Crosby Stewart. And 15 is Lucas Hammond. Your starting lineup for Capilano RFC. Bit of a Jersey Gate situation, I was told before the game, so it's kind of a grab bag of numbers. Don't associate the number with the position. Number 1 is Toby Payton. Starting at hooker, number 22, Clayton Hunter James. The second prop is Evan Marshall wearing 17. 4 is Jeff McKinnon. 5, Reed Tucker. 6, Jordan Harvey. 7, Hamish Taylor. 8 is Glenn McKinnon. 9 is Chris Robinson. Instead of wearing 10, Charlie Jones playing fly half at number 21. 11 is Adam Zaruba, although he might be 14 upon further review. 12 is Cody Pittman. 13, Nathan Yanagia. 14/11, Matt Yanagia. And 15, getting into the lineup, is Roddy Carroll. A long break here with some bandages being applied to one of the Capilano players as we set up or await this scrum. We tried to start these games a little bit earlier this week. Normal kickoff time at 2:45 today. All the Premier teams are starting at 2:30, just in case we do get any situations like this where we're slowed down due to injury. That's Evan Marshall getting the treatment out there, just to avoid an early sunset, especially with the overcast conditions today. And so after much delay, we get going back here, hopefully, as Chris Robinson looks to put the ball in. Ball's knocked forward, advantage to the Vikes. Now we'll see if we can play some fast running rugby. As Crosby Stewart once again trying to turn the corner, once again thrown into touch. Long throw in by Clayton Hunter James. That wasn't exactly the 40-meter one-handed throw in that we saw from the Barbarians last weekend against the Australian Wallabies, but it was certainly a very deep throw for the two-handed variety. And it gives Capilano a good position to get on the attack quickly here, which they do. Marshall, with his head bandaged up, drives hard into that tackle.
Charlie.
good prodding possession here by Capilano. Toby Payton getting a couple more meters. Plenty of time here for Robinson to create a set play. They choose to use the slow ball, get a couple more meters, and they're slowly working their way forward, but we have a penalty here to Caps. Looks like leaving their feet. That was number 7. Ole Knott, the offender for UVic. Just outside the kicking at goal kind of range in the estimation of Caps. So they'll go for the corner, and if the kick is a good one, they'll have the line out at the 5-meter mark. Excellent opportunity to get the early points in this game. Capilano get that line out nicely, and now they're pushing towards the try line. Advantage, I believe, being played on this one, though. Right at the line. No signal yet. Vikes players applauding. I believe that one was either just short or held up. We'll come back and set up a scrum. So the first opportunity to score points in this game for either club. Capilano threatening, UVic saying no, sir. Chris Robinson will put this one in a dangerous position. That scrum starts moving pretty early. We saw Robinson a couple of weeks ago use a really nice tap and go off the back of a scrum, and he headed into the corner against Castaway Wanderers. Maybe in a position to do something like that again should they award any kind of penalty to UVic off this dangerous looking scrummaging position. The ball's out, straight to the deck. Offload, nearly works, held up was Reed Tucker. They push for those final couple of meters. Right at the line. Robinson throws it to his right. It's McKinnon trying to find that last couple of meters, and the ball is dropped. No signal from the referee. There it is. We have the knock-on. Disappointing result for Capilano as they held pressure there for the last couple of minutes. Good defense, though, by the UVic Vikes. So with me today on camera, we have Caden Ward, a junior player from Mariloma. Caden, what did you like about the Vikes defense there?
Well, they kept coming up as line, which is mainly the most key important thing that you can do on defense.
Yeah, I agree. They certainly looked to be in solid formation, and they were getting the support they needed across the line. Good observation, Caden. Doug Tate and the rest of the UVic coaching staff will certainly be happy with the way the Vikes handled that defensive challenge.
Well, before this game, we had the Vikes again versus Capilano, the other Capilano team, and they were down 35-7, but they wouldn't just give up.
Lucky bounce nearly pays off big time for Crosby Stewart. And again, he was looking at the try line before collecting the ball. in the end, we're going to have another scrum. I have a feeling that much like our game last week, this one may be plagued by, let's say, certain ball handling inconsistencies, at least the way it's setting up so far, which is too bad because both these teams can certainly run with the ball. Both these teams have some pretty great athletes on them. And it's just about getting the ball from one side of the field to the other. It's just that simple. Easy to say, harder to do. Stewart attacking the line. Check that, Fraser. Shea Wakefield, he's a force out there. Played some league down in Australia. Played with the BC Bears. Came back, continuing on with UVic. Look for him to have a big impact on this game if UVic are going to come out on top. Wakefield wearing number 4. So we'll test the lifting skills of both teams. Capilano winning that line out nicely. And now we have some clean passing from one side of the field to the other. Excellently done. Yanagia thrown down, but offloads before he falls into touch. We do have another knock on there, advantage being played. Giuseppe Dutois kicks it forward, unable to run onto it. Caps deep in their own territory. Trying to relieve the pressure. Running forward with it was Clayton Hunter-James. McKinnon met with fierce resistance. He gets it out to the 22-meter line. Time to kick it out. And that was Charlie Jones kicking it into touch, getting hit in the leg as he kicked that one away. Shake that off. And after that penalty, Jones will kick it once again. And that's off the roof. Which is lovely for everybody here in the crowd, that no matter what the weather, no matter what the danger of rugby balls flying in their direction is, it's pretty rare to see one come into the crowd. Yeah. If anything, it's going to bounce off the field and up. Because I would know that as much as the players sometimes struggle with the ball catching skills, the fans, well, they're a little bit out of their element sometimes. The Vikes trying to set up a set piece here. Quickly met by one of the Caps defenders, didn't catch the number. That was, I believe, Zaruba with that tackle. Back here on our right side. Quick tap and go used by the Vikes. Dustin Dubrovsky trying to make his impact on the game. Wakefield to Bos. He's hard to bring down. There's about 6 players in that ruck for the Vikes. And we have a penalty. This is right in the middle of the field, about 30 meters out. I think it's time to get the kicking tee out. Yes, indeed, that is the call. So an opportunity for the Vikes to put some points on the board in a game that certainly could use some offense, and testing his kicking skills will be number 10, Giuseppe Dutois.
And here we go with the first kick of the game. The kick's up. And it's good.
The kick by Giuseppe Dutoit is good. The score is University Victoria 3, Capilano 0.
So there we have our first points of the game. Courtesy of that penalty, Giuseppe Dutoit opening the Vikes account, and that makes it 3-0 in favor of the visitors. Hard hit off the restart. Penalty given to the Vikes. Quick tap and go used. Wakefield with the long throw over to Casey Reed. He's met, pushed back, but we're going to bring this one back for an earlier infringement well on the other side of the field. That takes away any opportunity to set up a play quickly. And I suspect that the Vikes will kick this one into touch on the penalty. Our referee instructing Captain Glenn McKinnon, something he doesn't like out there. Sadly, we're not mic'd up to the referee, so we're speculating with the best of them, but no specific indication on these penalties apart from what is given by sign language.
Well, the Caps captain was probably saying that he had one hand on the ball and the guy still tackled him. So
deep line out. Just catching on to that one was Dubrovsky. Hammond held up. That maul finally hits the deck. And the Caps have certainly figured out MacBryan Bos. Get 2 or 3 guys on him. Don't let him build any momentum with the ball. And
we got a penalty for obstruction, I believe.
Yes, obstruction is the call there. Penalty to Capilano. Canadian Direct Insurance Premier League Rugby is brought to you by Canadian Direct Insurance. Is that ball still in? We'll hold off our advertisements for just a moment.
Yes, it was still in.
Now kicked clear into touch off the trees. As I was mentioning, our team here at BC Rugby, sponsored by Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avis & Young, Thorstenson's, Adidas, and Big Kahuna. Long clearance kick all the way to the fullback. He'll return the favor. The cheeky little kick ahead to himself. And then once again, right down to about the 10-meter mark where it's slashed into touch by Lucas. Check that. Wrong team. Roddy Carroll, number 15, who had 3 touches with the boot on that one, and gaining about 60 meters in territory for his team in the process. Capilano will look to steal this line out, but it's Wakefield getting his hands on the ball first for the Vikes. And now a turnover right at the line. Caps will test the Vikes once again, and once again it's spilled. Right in that danger area, right underneath the uprights. just as Caps looked like they were going to find goal, what a replay of what we saw earlier, the last time the Caps were deep in enemy territory.
They just got to play nice and simple. Then they'll get it in.
Well, it seems simple enough. I mean,
Yeah.
there was no loops. There was no dummies. It was just passing the ball down the line.
Yeah.
But UVic Vikes, give them some credit. They were up on their line of attack very quickly, defending and potentially causing a distraction to the Capilano's players as they tried to execute that set piece. And a knock-on. And a scrum.
Here comes the Caps' opportunity.
Yes, they'll be given opportunity number 3.
Sometimes 3 is lucky.
They do say that. I think the Caps would prefer to have execution than luck at this point
Yeah.
in time. Certainly a more experienced pack for Capilano. We've got some good athletes amongst the students from UVic, however.
Yeah.
MacBryan Bos, the biggest man out there on the field. He lines up a tight head prop. It's hard to find a good tight head prop, isn't it?
Yeah. The Caps have it.
All right. One more try here for the Caps as they attempt to push the ball across the line. McKinnon picks it up. Met by 3 Vikes defenders. Quick pass. Gets the Caps a couple more meters. They're about 8 meters out. McKinnon once again running with the ball. Tries to go for the outside shoulder. Can't turn the corner. Ferocious defense by the Vikes. One last pass onto the right side. Ball is dropped. Was it across the line? Knock on. Right at the line. I believe that was Roddy Carroll who had his hands on the ball right at the end. It wasn't the greatest of passes, but he did his best to get his hands on it and did, but was unable to secure it before spilling over the line. So Caps are now 0 for 3 in what we'll call the red zone. To borrow some football terminology, I don't enjoy borrowing football terminology, but we'll do it in this case. The only football reference that I'll make at this point is that
Oh, he knocks it on in his own zone. Now are they going to call that? Yep.
yeah, they're calling the knock on.
The Caps get another opportunity.
Let's see if they can use it.
4th chance for the Caps.
I mean, good on them for keeping the pressure up for the whole first half, but there's no way they should have 0 points on the board at this point in the game.
Yeah.
I was saying the only football reference I'll make for the rest of the day, I promise you, is I was at the Lions game last night in beautiful BC Place Stadium. Of course, BC Place Stadium, part of Rugby Canada's bid for the HSBC IRB 7 series. I expect that we'll have an announcement about that in the next couple of weeks for sure. It'll be a great venue, a great facility, should they get it, to come watch some rugby.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to imagine 20, 30, 40,000 screaming rugby fans here in Vancouver would be a wonderful experience.
Well,
And,
BC's starting to become a really big really big rugby province now these days.
I'd agree with that. We're doing our best to encourage that, to support that at BC Rugby. Rugby Canada also doing their work as well. And
Yeah.
the clubs certainly are driving that. We have a wonderful club league here with the Canadian Direct Insurance Premier League and all the other clubs as well that are outside that CDI Premier League doing real yeoman's work to build the game, build it at the mini and the juniors level, and create opportunities for young athletes who want to get involved in the sport, to try the game, to gain some skills, and to learn this wonderful sport.
Well, this year I also played for Team BC and Team Vancouver in the BC Summer Games. Rugby is full of opportunities.
And speaking of opportunities, a fourth opportunity here for Caps. Right at the goal area, just a meter or two away from the line. Again, stoic defense by the Vikes. It's unbelievable. Caps keep the pressure up, and we have a turnover as Bos falls on it, and the referee is going to call the knock on. And so that whole sequence, we'll call it 0 for 5 now, I suppose. Although we haven't decided the entire fate of this phase or series of phases. But I have to tell you, it's been something else watching UVic play defense here in the first half. Because the last couple of sequences, it's not like Caps are making mistakes. It's just the defense that's stepping up.
You can see that UVic has a really good defensive core in
Yeah,
their
they have
forwards and backs.
a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of size, and the team is working together as a unit, as you mentioned earlier, and that is the main key in these situations.
And they're getting the penalty. No.
Little contrary set of indications there by our referee. We'll sort that out. But I imagine for yet another time here in the first half, we will have a scrum. I believe the put-in is to Capilano. And so we'll officially call this opportunity number 6
Yep.
to put points on the board from very deep in enemy territory.
They're only like 2 or 3 meters out.
Yeah, they're right there. Let's see if they try something different or if they keep just trying to push quick passes 1 or 2 meters at a time. They're definitely hesitant to offload the ball at this point. Playing conservative rugby out there. Ball spilled, picked up, and we're going to bring it back. This is advantage was being played on that series. I would think the Caps should just put some points on the board here.
Yeah.
But I believe we're just coming back for a scrum, so that may not be an option. Some of the fans in that last phase calling for a penalty try to be awarded. They're certainly walking that fine line between aggressive defense and illegal defense.
Well, the New York Vikes, they just got a guy. No. 2. No.
Come on, Caden.
Check that
What's your
one.
opinion here?
I think they got a guy in the sin bin. Are they in?
Across the line. They're right there.
Yep, they are.
Finally, we have the try for Caps. Well, that took some effort.
Yeah.
sustained pressure for the last 15 minutes here. And Caps are finally on the board, courtesy of that try. They did just about everything they could. They threw the proverbial kitchen sink at UVic, who must be exhausted after defending right on their try line for the last 10 or 15 minutes. Robinson will line up this conversion attempt. Kick is up. It's
and
good.
It's good.
I think Chris Robinson is good. The score is now Capilano 7, UVic 3.
That makes the score Capilano 7 and UVic 3. And Capilano earned that the hard way. After months and years in the gym and on the training ground, they used every bit of their cardio and upper body strength to pound the ball forward for about 15 minutes and finally are rewarded with the try. Pip Blados spins that ball out to the middle of the field. UVic trying to put an answer together for that try allowed. Fraser working the feet as he's held up. That little grubber kick collected by Hammond, and he'll kick that into space, chasing after it just outside their own 22. Met hard on that kick was Dustin Dubrovsky. Hirayama laying the tackle on him as he kicked that one away. Now they're playing a little soccer out there. They're finally running with it. Zaruba, I believe, with the ball. Advantage being played in favor of Caps. Ball intercepted. There's going to be a stoppage to that play as it's called back on and offside. The heart's stopping for some of the fans here at Capilano as that one looked like a certain try. But it's called back on the offside.
The Capilano there caught a lucky break.
Yes, they did. Whether it was offside or not, it's inconsequential. That is the call that saves them from that particular pass attempt, not the wisest one we've seen today.
And they're going to go for the kick.
Now that call I like, considering what they've done for the last 15 minutes and how much they struggled to get the ball over the line. You might as well just take the easy points this time. Once again, Robinson, who's 1 for 1 so far today on the conversion, will go for penalty attempt number 1. Just outside the 22. Slight angle to the right of the field. Kick is up. Flags are up. 10-3 in favor of Capilano now. So after being down 3-0, having lots of questions for the students. The Caps with a couple of scores in quick succession now lead 10-3. And it's starting to look like a midterm for the UVic Vikes. The number of questions they are being asked right now, and difficult ones at that. Off the restart. Ball spilled. No knock on, says the referee. Play continues. Ball cleared where it's collected at the back by number 23. I don't have a number for that particular player for the Vikes. Now playing on the right-hand side, it's Mystery Man 23. Intercepted by Hirayama. And we have a penalty going to Capilano. We have a knock on once again. Canadian Direct Insurance Rugby is brought to you by Canadian Direct Insurance, as well as B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avis & Young, Thorstenson's, Adidas, and Big Kahuna. Robinson with the put in. McKinnon picks it up, back to Robinson. He drops the ball, and he'll kick it into touch just to play on the safe side, but they're going to bring that one back for yet another knock-on. And as I speculated at the outset, we might see more than the number of scrums for knock-ons that we would like in this game, based on the way it was trending early on, and that trend has continued. There's another drop ball, collected off the deck by Charlie Robinson. Check that, Charlie Jones. That ball bobbles off the hands, hits the ground. Advantage being played, we have another knock on. I implore both of these teams to please play simple rugby. Please hold on to the ball. I'm sure the fans and the coaching staff as well would love to see that improve. And as the players collect themselves, that is halftime. So a half that didn't have a whole lot necessarily in it. It was all Capilano for about 15 minutes as they continued to press and press. They did get the try as a result. They added a penalty moments later, and that is pretty much all that happened here in the first half, with the score at 10-3 in favor of Capilano. Both clubs will be looking to create a little more offense and a little more excitement, hopefully, here in the second half, which will get underway in just a few minutes. In the meantime, a few words from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
For every passion, there is an ultimate destination. A place revered by countless tales. For salmon fishing, that destination is Langara Island. Immerse yourself in natural splendor and enjoy the greatest fishing experience of your life at Langara Fishing Lodge.
Silly Willy Billy is a million miles away. When I had a little mind that I needed him to say, but I don't now, cause I'm mom and dad, I'm a grown-up boy. Saving all my money, gonna buy myself a new toy. Took a jet to the bottom of the visionary mind, where I'm making up the words to a song that doesn't rhyme. If you can't see me, then you better leave a note. Wait, scratch that, cause I'm never gonna be at home. Home, such a funny little thought. Everybody thinks now that I oughta rock. Nah, true, if you know what's best for you. Shut my eyes down now, can I get a deep blue? Sipping 7 up like a full-grown man. Even got a beard now, got it looking so grand. On account of the land in the middle of my palm, and I can't admit I don't belong. Gotta jump now, it's almost
And as always, it's a short break. We're back for second half action. Getting underway in just a moment. And I notice now that one of our advertisements, I believe, froze during the halftime show. So thanks for staying with us. We enjoy bringing Canadian Direct Insurance Rugby to you every Saturday. Our game next week, we travel to the island for the first time this season as it's Castaway Wanderers hosting James Bay. And in the meantime, we have this matchup between the number 2 and the number 3 team in the standings, both 3-1 records.
As we were waiting for the officials to arrive. And they are back.
So the players are ready to go. The referee needed a little bit of a longer break there. Not surprising, he was working pretty hard in that first half. His arms must be getting tired out there. I mean, I've seen guys directing planes on the tarmac at the airport who are less busy than he was in that particular half.
Well,
so here we go. Second half underway. Capilano leading UVic 10-3. After a first half that what can only be described as sloppy, but effective for Capilano. And they're pushing UVic back here early. Long, dangerous pass collected. That would have been pretty easy to pick off if Caps had got off their line just a little quicker. Now on the right side, that looked like it could have been a forward pass, and the offload is knocked down, and the ball spills into touch. And we'll get a line out on that far side of the field. Caden, we saw a lot of less than awesome rugby in that first half, sadly. But what did you like about the way either club played in the first half of this one?
Well, I liked it how UVic basically just kept on meeting the Capilano when they're in the UVic zone.
Definitely lots of pressure on the UVic defensive line, and they stood up to that pressure for a long time. And finally the wall cracked and the flood came in. But I think they were lucky to only have 10 points scored against them in that first half, because once that mental barrier was finally broken and Caps realized they could get some points on the board, they were starting to push, and then the half ended. So they will hope to continue that strong defensive effort, and Caps will strive to continue with their offensive foray.
And it was right that the UVic Vikes did have a guy in the Sinman that they're number 1 prop.
The Vikes starting the first half, or second half, one man down. But he has just returned to the field just before that last sequence, so we're back to 15 aside. And the Vikes will need every one of those defenders here as the Caps push forward right at the 22-meter line. Drop ball. Charlie Jones. It's a pretty low pass, but he'll be disappointed with himself there as he probably could have collected that one. It's been a fantastic day of rugby. I promise I will not spoil any of the previous game scores or action, but there was a lot of international rugby, some very high quality test matches to start the day. A lot of bleary eyes here in the stands. As we know, there were several international supporters starting their day at 6 o'clock in the morning watching rugby. And it continues on here in the late afternoon. What a wonderful day to spend a Saturday. Hammond finding touch, quickly taken in the line out by UVic. They thought they had something going there, but Caps are wise to it. Advantage, offside, penalty being called here. Penalty for the UVic Vikes. At the 40-meter mark, I think that's a little outside of Dutois' range, but he disagrees with me. So we'll see who's right in this case. The commentator who's safe and sound on the outside of the field with an opinion, or the man with the boot in the middle.
With the T.
Exactly. Well, at least he's pretty much straight away from the post, so no extra meters for the angle and no extra degree of difficulty as there's no wind here. But this is a long one. Low driving kick, looking good.
And it is.
Well done, Giuseppe Dutois.
And you were wrong.
I was completely wrong. You'll find working with me, however, that I am often wrong. And I do not take any kind of personal offense to being told that I am wrong. In this case, it's a very nice way to prove my inaccuracy, as that was a lovely kick by Dutois to get his team back within reach. Just one try would put them back in the lead now, the score 10-6. There's a blocked clearance kick, but it rolls away from Toby Payton, who had big dreams there of blocking a kick and jumping on the ball for a try. Not quite what he had in mind once he got his hands on that ball for the first time. It was certainly a good effort to get in there and stymie the Vikes clearance kick. And you see wingers, you know, that's their currency. That's what they do, is score tries. But whenever you have one of the front row guys in there looking for a try, especially in the open field, you just see their eyes light up. It's like the best thing that they've ever done.
Well, there's a saying, the forwards do all the work, the backs get all the credit.
Yes. So perhaps he had a grand vision of scoring a try there, but the ball just rolling away from him tantalizingly. Although Caps in a really good position here. Can they keep their foot on the gas right where they picked up from the first half? There's only 4 players for Caps who aren't involved in that push right now, and it comes out to one of them. That was Yanagia. He's kept in check. They'll try it again once again on the left-hand side of the field. They're still about 10 meters out. Edging a little closer. No luck there on that move. A little bit more positive here as we get right down to the try line.
As they're driving towards the line.
The Vikes defense starting to cave, and a try scored by the Capilano RFC club. Didn't see which player got it down there, but I don't think Capilano will care too much in particular. That's a team try. As we see
Capilano try scored, believed by Jeff McKinnon.
our PA guy doing the announcements just as unsure as us. John from Capilano RFC. He's going to go with McKinnon. I guess we can go with that too.
Jeff.
And that pushes the score ahead to Capilano 10 and UVic 6. Capilano with a nice reply for the UVic penalty here in the second half, and they'll have an opportunity with the conversion to add a couple of more.
The kick's up. And it just drops short.
The kick is short. The score is now Capilano 15.
Certainly not the connection with the ball on that conversion attempt that Robinson would have liked on that one. So it remains 10 for Capilano, 6. Check that, 15.
There's your math factor in again.
Jeez. You'd think I'd learn how to count eventually.
Yeah.
Well, as we say in the booth, Brendan's wrong. Once again. So after double checking my math, 15-6 is the new score. Capilano leading UVic, and they still have the ball after that restart. Nice work there on the deck just to buy themselves a couple more meters at a time. We'll finally see some play in the open field. Yanagia needs to release that ball and does. Pushing it forward, Reed Tucker. We haven't called his name too much today. And another spilled ball, another knock on. And as I believe we can very confidently say, knock-ons are brought to you by the following sponsors. Just in case things don't go the way you anticipated, Canadian Direct Insurance is there for you, as is B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avis & Young, Thorstenson's, Adidas, and Big Kahuna. A little bit of room to chip that one ahead. Hammond struggling to get it, and he does just in the nick of time. Capilano able to show numbers in support and retain possession of that ball. And Charlie Jones gets that ball high in the air and over the halfway line, where the quick line out is chosen by the Vikes. They have a couple extra men here on the near side of the field. Lots of pace there for Joe Ehrlich. Now Bos brought down once again by 3 defenders. Trying to do something fancy with the quick touch pass. Little basketball skill, working the ball around the horn. Not quite as clean as the Vikes would have liked, however. And speaking of ball skill, we have another spilled ball.
But they're calling a penalty for not rolling away against Capilano.
So, the last time we saw a penalty, Giuseppe Dutoit went for a long driving kick. Will he do the same here? It looks like he's going to choose the kick into touch. And that puts the ball at about the 15, let's call it 12-meter mark.
Yep.
Inside attacking territory. And we haven't really seen UVic in this sort of spot yet in this game.
Long line out.
Retained by UVic. Fraser drops the ball.
The ref says no.
Lots of groans here from the Capilano fans as that ball hit the turf. But the Vikes get to try once more. Ehrlich spun around, stays on his feet. About 10 meters out. And a penalty coming in. Unplayable. Couldn't quite see there. So our referee talks to
the UVic 8
front
man.
row. So we set up a scrum here. Capilano with the put in their defensive end. That ball's out. McKinnon taken down quickly.
Knock on by Capilano.
Yeah, quick pressure there as McKinnon was met instantly by a pair of Vikes defenders, and they caused that knock on. And they're going to elect from about the 10-meter mark to go with the scrum. They want all those Capilano defenders right on one side of the field. Pitblado collects the ball, spins it to his right, over to Dutoit. Ball dropped. It is hacked around in the feet. And a knock on being called. So I was hoping for a trend in the second half. I was hoping they would buck the trend in the second half, but we've still seen a parade of knock-ons from both clubs. And we can attribute some of that to really aggressive defense by UVic.
Yeah.
But some of that just has to come down to the players being able to make cleaner passes, as we'd all love to see a little more free-flowing rugby here.
Yeah.
Will we get that? Lots of space on the right side, through the hole. Right at the line. It looked like that was spilled at the line. No signal from the referee. I'd say that was probably a knock-on as the ball slipped out of the hands.
Now the touch judge and the ref will discuss what what happened there, basically.
Well, it was a good line break. It was a good line break by, I believe, Dutois. But just falling at the line and spilling the ball forward. And the knock-on is the resulting call. So just when it looked like the Vikes were going to get their first try of the game, the ball spills from hand. And I think Capilano might be the beneficiary of a very fortunate escape should they be able to win this scrum. McKinnon's tackled as he tries to run with the ball. Jones, high kick, finds touch early. Still inside the 22-meter line as he kicked that one from within his own goal area. So now we'll see what kind of sustained pressure the Vikes can put together, as they have had probably 4 or 5 sequences now inside Capilano territory, inside that 22. No points yet. High in the air was Dubrovsky. He comes down with it, and the ball slips out of his hands and results in a knock-on.
It looks like they're trying to go for the maul.
They're not able to set it up quite right. But that's certainly the right tactical play to use at about that position in the field. And that scrum goes to ground.
The ref signals for the put-in.
Yeah, I thought I saw some knees touching in that scrum. But good enough, says our referee, who at this point is probably not looking for perfection in the scrum, just expediently getting play underway is the main thing here, as that ball is kicked high into the Evergreens here at Klahani Park. Capilano still unable to effectively clear their line, and UVic comes back on the attack once again. Little pushing and shoving off the ball between Charlie Jones, Jeff Nishma Miller. Play continues. MacBryan Bos getting nowhere on that play. Wakefield bobbling the ball, maybe forward. Referee disagrees. Good footwork by Doug Fraser. Gets the Vikes about another 10 meters. Now they look like they're threatening until that happened, and advantage being played. The referee says play on. Another attacking phase by the Vikes as Wakefield leans his shoulder into that tackle. Now coming up the left-hand side. Fraser looked to his man on the left wing momentarily, chose to attack the middle of the field, where the ball is now. Spun back out. They have numbers on the left-hand side. Getting into the corner, and down is number 15, Lucas Hammond.
UVic tries for the number 15, Ronnie Carroll.
So, after several key moments of possession, after several attempts, after about 8 minutes of sustained pressure there for UVic, they are rewarded with the try. And we'll have Dutois line this one up for the conversion. That one starts right, stays right, falls right, wide of the post. And Caden, check my math, but I'm going to call this 15-11.
And that is correct.
As our new score going forward. Now, certainly the Vikes would have liked that conversion in their attempt to get back into this game, but they are now within one try score of the lead as we get into the last 20 minutes of play here. And that ball went to boot and off a hand. Referee once again signaling to play on. Running with it was Hammond. He's brought down. Chipped forward where it's collected at the back by Roddy Carroll. Right into the hands of Pitt Blado.
And we got a soccer game.
Both teams trying to get some possession, get some territory. Caps choose possession. Charlie Jones out of his own 10-meter line. Ball is recycled and out where Yanagia is taken down. That ball's out, spilled. It looks like another knock on. And that is indeed the case here. Unforced error by Capilano results in another scrum with the put in for UVic. That's an easy way to regain possession if you can win the scrum, but certainly an unforced error there as the ball and the player went to deck and the ball spilled forward as a result of hitting the ground.
The ball's put in.
Robinson really quickly on that one as he tackles his opponent number 9, Jamie Pipledo. Roddy chooses the inside shoulder and the offload. Caps working hard to get to that gain line and beyond. So we saw a good run there by Zaruba.
Good stuff, Caps.
This is a bit of a meat grinder here as they just push the ball into defense 2 or 3 meters at a time. Pick and carry, hammering the ball to the left. And a penalty for not releasing. Ball now in the hands of the Vikes. Left and right, dances Fraser. Down goes Fraser. And the ball comes out quickly from that breakdown. Referee's arm up. and a penalty to UVic. Well, I'm not going to say anything until I see the referee signal, which I just did. Dutois is going to go for the post,
kick.
and I don't know, maybe this is within his range. He really made a fool out of me last time by nicely kicking that 40-meter kick. So this one's from just inside the halfway line. I'm saying with the angle, it's probably going to be at least a full 50, 51-meter kick. So 40 is in his range, is 50 in Dutois' range. Low. Off the post. The ball's in play as that ball smoked off the crossbar and went right back into play. And this could work out pretty well for the Vikes. Wakefield to McBos. Now back to Wakefield. He's about 3 meters out. The ruck set up for the Vikes and a drop ball. Charlie Jones bobbling that one before he could get the kick away, but a knock on is going to be called, and they'll bring this one back for the scrum. Well, I said maybe it was 50 meters he was kicking from. Maybe it was 51. Was it in his range? Clearly, if it was 51, then 50 is his range. That ball used every inch of the distance that Dutois was able to give it, and it just hit the crossbar.
And it looked like that the Vikes were going to use that as his advantage.
Yeah, it spilled really beneficially to them, right to Fraser. And that just about worked, resulting in a try. You can't really draw up that play. It doesn't exist in any coach's playbook, but you have to use whatever the funnily shaped and oddly bouncing rugby ball gives you.
Yep.
And in that case, bad luck in the end, but what looked like a good luck situation for the Vikes. And as I said earlier, coaches will always take execution over luck.
Exactly.
Let's see how both these teams execute this scrum.
The ref signals for the put-in. Ball's out.
McKinnon met quickly in defense, about 3 meters off the line. Robinson checked that. Charlie Jones gets that kick away just in time. And that's a pretty good kick, as that one is outside the 22-meter line. This line out a little too far away to set up any kind of maul, so I'd expect to see quick tap back. Here we go with the running play. Fraser really likes that stutter step, but I think Caps are wise to it now.
As soon as you do one kind of trick, a team can figure it out and execute it.
Yeah, at this level, these players certainly know a few tricks up their sleeve. And hard defense and what looked like a high tackle as Crosby Stewart was brought down. Advantage being played to UVic. A low ball, nicely scooped up by MacBryan Bos, and he's across the line.
It is in.
Wow, what a run there by the prop, MacBryan Bos, as he collects that ball off the ground, right at his feet, scoops it up, fends off a couple of Caps players, and gets across the line. And that was certainly the high point of rugby play, rugby style that we've seen in the game so far today.
Yep.
And as we heard the UVic First Division team right in front of us celebrating that UVic try and conversion.
Conversion makes it UVic 18, Capilano 15.
That puts UVic ahead 18-15, and they've trailed through much of this game. They suddenly find themselves back on top, and with no official time to check in on, I would speculate that there's probably about 10 minutes left.
They still got time, Capilano.
Yeah, with that 3-point difference, it should make for an excellent finish here between these two clubs. We expected a pretty even contest, and we are getting it here in West Vancouver. Territory will be a key factor here in the closing minutes.
And possession.
Little up and under. Scooped up by the Vikes. Now a loose ball. Body spill, as does the referee's arm goes up on that one for a knock-on advantage, and Caps are using it to move the ball forward. Jones out wide to McKinnon. Now a couple of offloads later, the ball hits the deck and advantage being played to the Vikes. And they failed to regain possession off of that breakdown, so they will go to the scrum. Every possession now so important. Do you choose to hold on to it and run with it? Do you try to kick it across the field and get some space, get some territory?
They get set for the scrum. They bind up.
And that scrum falls apart at the seams. We've seen a lot of scrums, but we've also seen a lot of these scrums quickly going
pieces.
one way or the other. The forwards probably getting pretty tired here at the 72-minute mark of this game, so no surprise that we see some of these scrums starting to collapse a little bit now.
Forwards are the usually first players to sort of lose their steam.
Well, they put in a lot of effort in the game, in those attacking pods, supporting the ball. And we say the wingers get all the glory and all the attention, but you ask any rugby player who the hardest working guy on the field is, and it's always going to be one of the forwards.
And we got advantage being played as the Caps knock on.
So the Vikes with the ball in an attacking position now just inside the 22-meter line. Shea Wakefield with a quick offload as he's met in the tackle. A penalty. They're not rolling away. Penalty to the Vikes, and that is an important call in the final few minutes here, as this one is straight away from the post, about 20 meters out.
Now would they go for it?
Yeah, they sure will. And I would say that 51 meters might not be within Dutois' range, but 20 definitely is. And this vital play here will decide if Vikes can extend their lead past that unconverted try to that 6-point distance. Certainly very makeable here.
Dutois comes up with it. And it's good.
Yeah, he made that look easy.
UVic 21, Capilano 15.
And UVic now gaining the upper hand for much of this game. Looked to be on the back foot. Defended ferociously. Denied Caps on several occasions. Now find themselves in front. Now find themselves defending a 6-point lead in the game's closing moments. And they also find themselves with the ball just outside their own 22.
They chip it away for a box kick.
That's collected. Little indecision there by Yanagia on the far side, whether to spin that one 15 meters through the air or to kick it or to run it. And with the indecision, the ball's recycled. But now Caps look to be in a good position as running down the right side of the field. And some nifty handwork there by one of the Caps forwards. And now we have the ball spilled in the touch and several players and a little bit of pushing and shoving as the two fullbacks get right in each other's face. Roddy Carroll, the shorter of the two now, the tall guys get in there. And the referee and the touch judges trying to separate everyone right in front of the Capilano RFC bench. A lot of heated words exchanged there between those players, and for the benefit of our broadcast, luckily out of the range of our microphones.
Well, I'll have to start getting a sensor for that.
And I'm sure in about 7 or 8 minutes, all that will be forgotten as these two clubs join in the clubhouse here. Yeah. But for the duration, little intensity out on the field. Capilano needing a converted try to get back on top.
Well, sometimes rugby players say that you guys are enemies on the field, but when you get off the field, you just are best friends.
It's very unique to the sport of rugby, certainly one of the most interesting and probably the best parts of rugby really is that social atmosphere and that camaraderie that exists. But they are enemies right now. And clean ball handling is also the enemy of both of these clubs as we continue to see knock-ons late into the game, just as we did at the start. Each one of these scrums becoming increasingly important, increasingly crucial for the outcome of this game.
Looks like the prop for the UVic Vikes is signaling a substitution or possibly a substitution.
Yeah, as we see the athletic trainers jogging out onto the field here. And this will be our last opportunity to thank our sponsors, Canadian Direct Insurance, B2 Gold, Neurogenesis Happy Water, Adira, Live West Coast, Extreme Rugby Wear, Okanagan Spring Brewery, Grosvenor, Avis & Young, Thorstenson's, Adidas, and Big Kahuna.
Big Kahuna. And it looks like they just did a quick patch-up job, and we're back in the action.
This is going to be a great finish. We've got a couple minutes left. This game really just standing on a knife edge right now.
Caps with one try and convert away. UVic's trying to defend their lead.
UVic had to put in there. The referee asks them to do it again. And the scrums are a bit of the dark arts, a lot of gamesmanship at the best of times. But when you have the game on the line, you're looking for every little advantage you can get.
Exactly.
So discipline in the scrum, probably falling second to expediency in the scrum. As both front rows push for everything they can get.
They're putting everything into the last couple of scrums.
That ball's out. It's loose. It's collected by UVic in goal, right on the line. Caps pushing everything at this one. And a penalty. Unplayable. Tap and go. Another scrum. What's the call? I think they'll choose to scrum once again.
And we are scrumming once again, as you said.
So out of all the many scrums that I have at times complained about in this game, this will be probably the most important one.
Exactly.
Both clubs desperately trying to get the technique right here as the ball is just outside of the UVic Vikes line. Capilano needing a converted try to take the lead as time winds down.
They passed it down the line.
Good two-man tackle there by the Vikes. The ball is spilled, collected quickly. Capilano stays in possession. Hard running, hard yards there for Pittman. He's brought down. Jordan Harvey just outside the line. He's stopped.
Are they across?
More heroic defense by the Vikes. They try to set up a maul unsuccessfully. Cap still in possession. Now right at the line once again. No signal yet from our referee. They're about 1.5 meters out. The ball is dropped. Again, no signal. Play on. Right in the corner. The Vikes defense under tremendous pressure here. Quick movement there. Still no signal. What more could the Caps do here? They just need that 1 or 2 more meters to go. Still in possession, still Caps, still looking, still pushing.
They passed it out.
And a try. No. No, I thought
try.
he was in. They're calling a penalty here.
They're calling that he dived over.
Oh, wow. We thought we had a result there for Capilano, and it's brought back on the penalty. Vikes clear their lines.
And that is
That's
it.
the final whistle. What a great finish here at Klahanie Park. It looked like Capilano had scored what could have been the game-winning try. It's brought back on a penalty. And the UVic Vikes move to 4-1 on the year. Capilano moves to 3-2. Final score here from Klahanie Park. UVic 21, Capilano 15. Caden, what a game.
It looked like Capilano had it, but the penalty.
Yeah, I will have to watch that one on the replays later, and you can too. We have our monthly rugby show, BC Rugby Club, which we bring to you at the end of every month after training on Thursday nights. I'll have to check my calendar. I believe that's the 29th, but look for it on bcrugby.com. We'll bring you all the highlights from around the CDI on a monthly recap of the best of the best, and I'm sure the finish from this one will be included amongst that highlight reel.
Exactly.
Thanks so much to everyone for watching our live stream. It's been a wonderful day of rugby around the province and around the world, and this game lived up to its billing. It started slow, but it finished great, and we look forward to bringing you another wonderful game next Saturday as we travel to the island. Castaway Wanderers hosting James Bay, and I will be there. Caden will not. We'll sort that out. But I look forward to being there to bring you another great game, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. For Caden Ward, I'm Brendan Monroe. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night, everybody.
BC Rugby has a 125-year history, a history of success and pride. There's a place for everyone, young and old, boys and girls, one spirit, one team. Some play a small part, some larger, and some, the special ones, they know what it takes to grab onto that history and shake it to its core, inspiring us all.